Hello and welcome back to A Foreigner and Family in the Philippines. And this is an update video on the Isuzu Elf. We took this to Davao to pick up our tissue culture, Lacatan banana tissue cultures, and some other seedlings, the calamansi and the avocado seedlings. So it held up. I mean, it made the 7-hour trip to Davao, picked up the seedlings, came 7 hours right back. A little bit of a rough ride, but got her done. Got them back over here, got the seedlings in the nursery, which are right over there actually. And man, it held up. I had mentioned the brake line right down here. Not on this side. I was trying to point to the other side. Over there I can see it, but I can see it, but I don't think enough light is getting in there for the camera. The brake line over there was completely disconnected. So my brake fluid, it's kind of funny. This is the compartment here to check your brake fluid. Right in there, that is my brake fluid, which is full of brake fluid now. But it was completely empty. That's the issue I had, is that my brake line had completely broken, maybe hit a rock or something, and it was totally separated. Like I went down, I looked at I could hold the line out, and the brake line was busted off. So all they had to do was go in there and weld on an extension for it on the brake line, or however. I assume they seem to weld everything. I don't know if there's some other technique that they used to extend that. But they put some sort of soldering. But anyway, the brake line got repaired, so, and it was fine for the trip. Then the brakes worked the whole way. This is right down at the getting onto the property. I have this little muddy area in it, so it sucks. It just, the wheels spin and it just takes into having those double wheels in the back. It allows you to have a little more little higher weight capacity than just having a single tire. But it just gets, I've had rocks I had to take the tire off to get a rock out of there. Usually I can get finagle the rocks out with a bar, but the other time I had this one rock, I could not get it in there. Like I was gonna maybe cut the tire, so I had to take the tire off just to get the rock out. But this just, like, it's just caked. Like, it's just, in between those two tires is just plugged with mud, and it actually just kind of pushes it out through these little kind of spoke holes in the rim here. So, and those back tires are bald, so when I don't have anything in the back, I have to go the four-wheel, and it is four-wheel, so that is helpful. But the ride was, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's an Elf. It's an Isuzu Elf. It's not built for comfort. It's not built for style, but it gets the job done. The other thing is, it does have the 10-foot cargo bed, which gives me a little more cargo area. I know there's a bongo that's about the same size. It's a little bit shorter, and it has the single tire, but it is a Kia bongo. Man, this wasp is messing with me right here. That's a big wasp. I think that's the wasp that I see. I'm moving around because I'm trying to catch this guy. He's eyeing me for some reason. But I've seen those wasps. Those are the ones that eat the spiders. You'll see them dragging a spider around. But this Elf here, what was I gonna, the Kia bongo, it has the single tire in the back, which I kind of like, because I'm gonna always have this mud issue, and when I get going now, most of that mud will knock out. But yeah, if it's got some rocks in there, the rocks will keep that mud, and I don't know how bad of a thing that can be for the tires. But when it's a rock, I mean, you hear it coming around, crack, 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 crack. So you've got to take care of it. That just confirms my engine. I know what engine type I've got. It's the 4JG2. I don't know if that helps anybody. But as far as, yeah, comfort. It's not built for comfort, that's for sure. In my size, it's not a big enough seat. I don't know. They spin the seats around, and they have to shift everything, because in Japan, the steering wheel here would actually be over there, but so it has to get shifted around, and it's this seat is very. My goodness, this seat actually gave me a hemorrhoid the time on the other trip we took, and it's like it doesn't, if it goes down here, so it just slopes. I actually had to have a seat cushion on this last trip. That helped. I didn't no hemorrhoid flare up or anything like that, but previously, yes. And then going to the pharmacy here in the Philippines, it was like they had a big discussion about it. I had to request some hemorrhoid cream. Not a big, to me it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, I had an issue, needed to take care of it. I don't know, they seemed to think that was funny, some sort of comedy special. They called a couple of others over. They had a little group meeting about it with some chuckles, and apparently no hemorrhoid cream. So that's a whole nother issue. And it wasn't like the seat does like a full spread on the cheeks to where it was like, yeah, it was so, I was stretched out, or I mean it was hot that day. Fortunately, this last trip we had overcast, so it was fairly cool. But it wasn't stretched. It wouldn't stretch me out, but it was just enough on on the outside, even to where it just kind of the rotation on the outer part of the leg there created a pull that I didn't know anything about, or I didn't know that it was causing a flare-up hemorrhoid type issue until after the trip. Oh, we've got breaking news here. Breaking news. This is Cielo. This is my wife. She's got her COVID-19 mask on. But we have an army worm here that's invaded our corn. We have one, so we have to get. We've used some of the Puridan granules, and then we use some Padan spray. There's another one that's supposed to kill this guy, and we may have to use this because they get in your corn and they wreak havoc. So we got to eliminate this.
I get this one without the corn. They have still Furadan, but he's still alive even with Furadan on it.
Okay. Well, that's something we're going to have to take care of. There was a technician that was passing through, and he suggested another compound that has an active ingredient. We don't have ears on our corn just yet, and over there too. So, which is good, because I'd like to not use any sort of pesticide. And this is grain corn, so it's not used. We're not eating it, but animals eat it. So we don't like to. Definitely don't want to have pesticide applied when it's got the ears of corn on it, when it's fruiting. So that seat was severely uncomfortable. Anytime I do a trip like that, I have to have, and I did. I had the pillow. I'm probably even going to look at some sort of gel cushion. So beware. I mean, I'm middle-aged man, but I'm fairly fit. So to have a hemorrhoid from a seat ride, that was uncomfortable. Oh, and in the back on the cargo, we had the bamboo going across there, so we had the netting going over the top just to help with the wind, and so we didn't tear up the seedlings too bad. So that's that was our trip to Davao, and an update video on the Elf, holding up good. The engine sounds great. That's the biggest thing. Oh, there is one thing I want to mention about an Elf too, is with a surplus vehicle like this that's brought in, the Philippines will only let you register it for 10 years. So if someone's already had that Elf, or whatever surplus vehicle it is, for mini dumps or whatever else they have, the Mitsubishi Canters, all kinds of different ones that they bring in as surplus vehicles. If someone's already had that for 8 years, then you can only register it in the Philippines for 2 years. So if you buy that and you think, okay, well, I'll have this truck for the next 15 years. And if you're out in the province and it's just a little something you're just transporting stuff around on the farm, maybe that'll work for you. But if you're expecting to be able to register it for as long as it's alive, you may have you will have an issue with that. So, and I had that happen. There was an elf that I almost bought. I've mentioned that I paid 425,000 pesos for this elf, and this was a new build. And they come in from Cebu, and then Cebu brought them over here to Cagayan. And that's why it's better to go directly to Cebu. Cebu will ship if you buy an elf in Cebu, they'll ship it to wherever you're at in the Philippines, just about. And they'll ferry it over, and you'll still save money. So it's good to get your surplus directly from Cebu. If I were to get another vehicle, I would go to Cebu and get it. But I got sidetracked there. Oh, the elf that I was going to get, I think it was like 260,000 pesos, and it looked in great shape. I think it might have been an upsize on this one, even a larger size, larger engine. And I was about to get that one. I liked it looked better. It felt more comfortable, and it was significantly cheaper. I'm like, well, shoot, I want to get that one. Well, then I saw that the engine was leaking oil in 2 different spots, and now the person selling it tells me they're going to take care of that. So I'm thinking, well, I guess if they take care of it, but here in the Philippines, when they say take care of it, they're not going to Isuzu Motors. They're not going and getting you a new certified part. They're just going to weld, try and weld over that to take care of that leak. And in some cases that may be perfect, but I don't know. On an engine with an oil leak, I'm a little concerned with that. But I was still in. The price was right. And then I found out, while it was being fixed, I found out that it had already been registered in the Philippines for 8 years. So I was not going to have a truck for a long duration. I would only be able to register it for 2, and I would have been like, oh, okay. On the 3rd year, I would have gone to register it and probably found out, or maybe when I went to register, they say, oh, you only got 1 year left. I'd have been like, what? So that's a consideration to definitely consider. So I wanted to make sure I threw that out there. And I think that's enough about this Isuzu Elf. So please like, comment, share, and subscribe.